This is problem number 2 from section 1.3. In this problem it says, complete the table of function values. Do not use a calculator or tables. Evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions for each value of theta. Simplify your answers, including any radicals. Use integers or fractions for any numbers in the expression. Type in if the function is undefined. So let's go ahead and use our unit circle. It says not to use tables, but obviously we got to use the unit circle to kind of come up with some of these. And let's just start with sine and cosine. So negative 3 pi over 4, where does that take you on the unit circle? Well, if I start going around negatively, that's going around, that would be clockwise. So I'm going to go pi over 4, 2 pi over 4. Now remember, it's negative 2 pi over 4. And then a negative 3 pi over 4. So negative 3 pi over 4 is the same as 5 pi over 4. So it wants to know what sine and cosine are there. Well, sine is negative root 2 over 2. And cosine is also negative root 2 over 2. So what's tangent then? Well, tangent is going to be negative root 2 over 2, the sine part of it, negative root 2 over 2 divided by negative root 2 over 2. So the tangent part of this is 1. All right, now let's look at negative 2 pi over 3. So negative 2 pi over 3, we're going to go 1 pi over 3, right? So this is negative 1 pi over 3. And then negative 2 pi over 3 would be right here. So negative 2 pi over 3 is the same as 4 pi over 3. So in this case, we're going to get negative a half for cosine. And I actually had that backwards. I put them in wrong. This is the cosine part. This is negative a half. I got lucky on the first one. They're the exact same. So cosine, remember, goes with x. Sine goes with y. So this is negative 3 pi, or negative root 3 over 2. Now, if I want to find tangent here, so tangent, I'm going to have to take the sine part and divide it by the cosine part. So we know tan theta is equal to negative root 3 over 2 over negative 1/2. Because tan theta is equal to sine theta over cosine theta. And I think maybe I'm going to write that right here. So tan theta is equal to sine theta over cosine theta. So negative root 3 over 2 divided by negative a half, that's negative root 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1, which the 2's cancel, leaving you with just root 3. So this is root 3 for tangent here. Now let's go back to 0. It says 0. We've got an x value or a cosine value of 1 and a sine value of 0. So is tangent defined here? Yes, because if I take sine divided by cosine, 0 divided by 1, I get 0 for tangent. Now I go to pi over 4. Pi over 4 is up here. I've got cosine as root 2 over 2 and sine as root 2 over 2. If I divide those, right, sine divided by cosine, I end up with 1. And finally, 3 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4. I've got negative root 2 over 2, and I've got root 2 over 2 here for sine. I'd take sine divided by cosine to get tangent, and I end up with negative 1 here for tangent. So now they want us to do cotangent, secant, cosecant. So remember that cotangent is 1 over tangent. Let's also remember that secant is 1 over cosine. And finally, cosecant is 1 over sine. So these last ones should be pretty easy to come up with. Let's start with the tangent one, cotangent. If I take the reciprocal of tangent, I get 1. If I take the reciprocal of root 3, I get 1 over root 3. I want to make sure that it says simplify your answers including any radicals. Use integers or fractions for any numbers in the expression. Type in if the function is undefined. So I think that they're going to be okay with us writing 1 over root 3. Now, if they don't like this when you go through and do your problems, that means you need to rationalize the denominator. I don't think we need to. No, maybe, after reading this again, maybe they actually want us to rationalize it. So let's go ahead and do that. 1 over root 3. We multiply by root 3 over root 3. And that gives you root 3 over, when I multiply the two roots, I get root 9, which reduces to 3. So this is actually root 3 over 3. When I flip this, this will become 1 over 0. That's undefined, and they want us to use n for that. So n undefined. When I flip this, I get 1. When I flip this, I get negative 1. Secant, then, is going to be the reciprocal of whatever cosine is. So I go to cosine, and I flip it, and I get negative 2 over root 2. I need to multiply by root 2 over root 2 to rationalize this denominator. I get negative 2 root 2 over, on the bottom, that gives me, let's see, root 2 times root 2, that's just 2, right? So that reduces to negative root 2. So secant then is going to be negative root 2. And anytime I see negative root 2 over 2, I can now just write the reciprocal as negative root 2 because that's what I just found. If I take the reciprocal of cosine, that's negative 2. The reciprocal of 1 is 1. The reciprocal of root 2 over 2, I can just say is root 2 because the negative version gave me negative root 2. And then negative root 2 over 2, the reciprocal of that is just negative root 2, like what we got earlier. Okay, now we can look at cosecant. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So I have negative root 2 over 2. The reciprocal of that is going to be negative root 2. The reciprocal of this is negative root 3 over 2. So I'm going to go ahead and have to flip this. So this would be 2 over negative root 3. I'm going to multiply by root 3 over root 3. 2 root 3 over 3. So this is negative 2 root 3 over 3. I take the reciprocal of sine here. When I take the reciprocal, I end up with 1 over 0. So this is another one that's not defined. If I go ahead and look at, I think that says root 2 over 2. So that's going to be root 2. And the last one, again, is root 2 over 2. So that's going to be root 2. And that's how you come up with the table without using any table or calculator.